Okie dokie. Again, have to distribute if we want to be able to start this. So 2x squared minus 2x equals 3. I can move the 3 over, I can leave it where it is. Doesn't matter for how we do our square completing. Factor out the leading coefficient. So 2 times x squared minus 1, minus 1x, sorry, equals 3. Now we will complete the square. Hey, let's do this. This will make it easier. Let's just divide by 2. So then we'll have x squared minus x equals 3 over 2. That's going to make my square completing a little simpler, actually. So let's complete the square by saying x minus half of my coefficient on x, which is 1, so x minus 1 half squared equals 3 halves, except I totally cheated. What did I forget to do? Forgot to balance. So x minus 1 half squared means I now need to subtract my 1 half squared, and that will equal 3 halves. So by dividing by 2 first, I saved myself from having to also multiply that 1 half squared by 2. So, I don't know, maybe it's easier, maybe it's the same, but I think it made it a little nicer. So, x minus 1 half squared equals, add the 1 half squared to the other side, which means we're adding blah, 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 1 half squared is 1/4, plus the 3 halves. Well, 3 halves is the same as 6/4 if you multiply by 2 in the top and the bottom. So we get x minus 1 half equals 7/4 squared. X minus 1 half squared equals 7/4. So now x minus 1 half will equal plus or minus the square root of 7 over 2 by square rooting that 4. So that's good because now we'll have a common denominator. X equals plus or minus, add the 1 half over, x equals, add the 1 half over, 1 half plus or minus the square root of 7 over 2, which means x equals 1 plus or minus the square root of 7, all divided by 2. And there you go. Lots of completing the square problem, so hopefully you feel pretty comfy with it at this stage in the game.